Hello everyone, I'm with me and we're finally here. The ending. Let's get on with it.
If you have a thought in your brain, can you cut the thought out? Yes, you can stop the thought.
Again, that depends. Maybe some people's brains do work that way, but from my experience, it's a lot harder to just cut off thoughts.
You can stop those chemicals from firing off and change the path to a different thought. So how can you be your brain if you have the power to control your brain with regards to thoughts? I'm not talking about other things that your brain does on autopilot, such as letting you know when your stomach's hungry, okay? I'm talking about in regard to free thinking, thoughts. Let's stick to that. Are you simply being dictated by neurons being fired off in your brain?
That depends on if you think we have free will or not. A lot of atheists like to argue about free will and whether or not we have it. It's interesting. Again, you should check it out.
In fact, science hasn't even found the very first cause of a thought, I thought.
So we don't know the answer. Therefore, it's God. Or in your case, it's a soul.
You're a spirit with a soul, spiritual mind and emotion connected to this fleshly body. So if your physical brain's damaged in this life, you're not going to have consciousness. But when you die, go to the next. That's a different story, because that physical brain that's got the power now in this life is gone and in the ground.
Well, you can only hope for those poor individuals that can't make decisions for themselves.
That's the test. Living this life now is the test, because you stand before Almighty God and He judges you. Because if you still have that spiritual mind that carries on before Him after you die and thinks sin is okay and hates Him, He can't let you into His kingdom.
I don't hate Him. Well, I don't hate Him, and I didn't know that sin was bad. Let's say I died and went to heaven to be judged. Is it my fault for asking too many questions? Is it my fault for crying and begging God to show me a sign that He was even real? Is it my fault I simply just didn't believe? Is it my fault that I anticipated for days on end after I lost faith for God to show me any sign? And let's say He does send me to hell. If God sends me to hell because I simply didn't believe, your God is an evil bastard, and I'm glad I didn't waste my time worshiping Him.
He allows for free will. He's not just going to change you. You have to change you. He can help you, but you have to do it.
Well, I guess I changed the wrong way. Oh well.
So atheists, you have a soul. You are more than just a natural brain. You are more than that, because there's more to you than just neurons being fired off in your brain that's controlling you to think certain things. Because you can control your thoughts. It's not that a neuron suddenly decides on its own, because then you're giving that neuron a mind of its own. So your neurons have souls? No, you have a soul.
Well, if you want to go that far, all of our cells technically have a mind of their own. I mean, I'm not the one controlling my heart beating. At a conscious level, I'm not the one controlling my heart. I don't control whether my cells divide. I don't control whether they fall off and die.
You're in control.
Mostly, yes.
And you choose not to believe in Jesus as God the Son. You choose to reject His power over death.
No, I wanted to believe. I mean, I cried that day when I lost faith in God. It hurt. Like, are you telling me I chose to be that hurt? Also, if we could choose what to believe in and what not to believe in, then try, for example, believing Australia doesn't exist. You can say Australia doesn't exist, and you can say in your brain, you can have a thought that says Australia doesn't exist, but you still believe in Australia, right?
While thinking you are better than Him. Yes, you do, because you reject His word. And anybody who rejects His word clearly must think he doesn't have the best wisdom. You think you have the best wisdom. So tell me, atheist, has any atheist scientist ever walked out of the grave on their own power? I'm not talking about clear resuscitation. I'm talking about Jesus saying He would walk out of the grave 3 days later, doing it on His own. I'm not talking about Lazarus being resurrected. Lazarus was not resurrected after being dead for 4 days on his own. Jesus did it. Jesus, though, walked out of the grave.
I really wish there was a way to prove that. If only you talked about the thousands of references to Jesus and his resurrection, maybe then you'd have a point. You know, I could just say, no, he didn't, right here, and it'd be a valid point. You know you suck at arguing when your opponent literally just saying no is a valid point.
But you don't believe those documents. You don't believe those stories. After all, you're atheist. You reject history. Oh, you probably don't believe in Hitler, right? How can I hate Hitler? After all, Hitler doesn't exist. Maybe you'll say that. Ha!
There's video evidence of Hitler. You're going to have to try harder than that.
Why don't you start hating your foolishness in your mind and start controlling your brain to start thinking and accepting facts instead of fallacies? Stop believing your evolution fairy tales and your lies about the creation through atheist thinking, through popular atheist thinking of the Big Bang, that 0 plus 0 equals 1, that everything can come from nothing, that somewhere can come from nowhere.
You know, I could say the same thing to you. Stop denying the facts about evolution, and stop believing in the lies of Christianity. You know, I used to believe in God, right? I'm still growing, and I still question stuff the same way I did when I was a Christian. Why is it that you assume atheists are just stupid and deny God's existence? Why is it so hard for you to just believe that there are atheists that just genuinely don't believe in God? Maybe they just genuinely don't know the thousands of references to Jesus.
That everything can come from nothing, that somewhere can come from nowhere.
We don't believe that. We're just as dumbfounded as everyone else about why we're here to begin with. I mean, even when I think about it, when I think about how the universe was created, how we're here to begin with, it blows my mind. Because as an atheist, I don't believe a God did it. And I believe maybe a God did it. I'm not just going to say he did, though. And when I think about it, I think about why is there something instead of nothing? And then I think about it, like, there should just be nothing. It's crazy. It's crazy, man. It's crazy. But I'm not just going to say God did it because it's a cop-out answer.
And you say the Christians are delusional? And you say the Christians believe in fairy tales?
I love how smug you are. It's hilarious.
But how can they? Isn't it just the neurons firing off in their brain telling them that?
It could be a lot of things. Emotions, telling them they need God, and being religiously indoctrinated. Those are just a few examples.
Atheist, you are a spirit, you have a soul, you live in a body, you have free will. Start using it and taking yourself to heaven when you die. Because right now, you're choosing to go to a horrible location, as they say in real estate.
I'm not choosing. I can't simply choose to believe something exists, and I can't simply choose to believe it doesn't exist. I can't genuinely think the sun doesn't exist, or genuinely think that unicorns exist, you know? I really wish I could just magically believe unicorns exist, so I can go try and find some, and I can have, like, something cool to do, but I don't believe unicorns exist, so I'm not going to actively search for them.
And that's not very wise. People who are like that, us Christians kind of think they're a little crazy. So you're not exactly you're not exactly winning us over into your atheist religious doctrine.
You're not winning us over. And, you know, we are kind of actually winning you over. I mean, I am an ex-Christian after all.
Oh yes, atheism is a religion. After all, there's atheist churches popping up right now.
Atheism isn't a religion, and even if it was, it wouldn't matter because it doesn't disprove or prove the existence of God anyways.
Hypocrites, hypocrites, hypocrites.
Hypocrite, 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 hypocrite. Practice what you preach. Practice what you preach.
Good job, man. You really won that crowd over. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I certainly enjoyed the ending bit. That was embarrassing. Please like if you did, and yeah, that's pretty much it. No more parts of this video. It's over. It's done for. It's done. Okay, it's gone. No more. I'm done. Bye-bye. Look, let's say... Oh, I burped.